Hey, what's up everybody? I'm going to try and make this video not too long, as in I'm pretty tired out. I've only been home one day after being 2 days in Prescott. Went up there with my mom just to have a short vacation. Get away from my dad that's been driving us both crazy and whatnot, and go up there. And my dad, we didn't just leave him here alone to fend for himself and blow the fucking house up, no. My sisters were nice enough to come out and visit with him while we were up there, so he got to run around and use them as slaves and whatnot and make them do shit for him, so we all had fun. Anyways, first thing I did, man, was I wanted to see just what was out there. I've never been there. My mom said I'd really like the place, not just because it's beautiful, but because they got just stores everywhere, every store you'd want. Thrift stores all over the place, antique stores all over the place, junk stores all over the place, and she was not shitting me. I did not make it to all the thrift stores, and I was planning on it because I thought some of them might possibly be small. Damn near every one of them was as big as a Goodwill. Huge thrift stores. There was only one that I'd say it was about half the size of my Goodwill in Bullhead City, Arizona that I go to. It's huge. They just didn't have much game stuff. I was looking for old stuff like Atari related, or just old Atari computers, Commodore, whatever. Stuff pre to Nintendo, and was not having much luck. Well, didn't have much luck on finding really old school stuff, but I found something from the 90s, which this, you guys could definitely say I'm a lucky bastard, man, because if I was there hours later, not just a day later, I would have been screwed on this thing. As in, it was about to go on eBay. And this was at a store that happens to sell retro stuff, and the owner of the store is really cool. I'm going to give you guys the link to his website. It is Gamers Entertainment out of, I think he was in Prescott Valley. And all I can say is map it out on Google. If any of you guys ever get a chance to go up to Prescott, he's close to where Whiskey Row is, where they have all the antique stores and bars and stuff, where it's kind of like their old town tourist trap section. Just a little store. The store isn't very big, but he does have some retro games and stuff. He had stuff from few Sega CD games, nice little stack of Sega Saturn, quite a bit of Nintendo stuff for Nintendo, Nintendo 64, various game controllers for different systems. And the one reason why I was going there wasn't for what I got here. I was going there because he had a little system that I'll show you in the next video, and it's one of the Nintendo clones. I'm not going to give away what it is because I want to show it off, but was only 20 bucks. It's one of those things where you get what you pay for. It's pretty cheap looking, and it feels cheap, real lightweight, but plays my Nintendo carts no problem. I don't have to sit there and go through the freaking flashing screen or anything, so it was worth picking up. And that's what he's got on his website, as in his website isn't fully developed yet, but you can order those off of it for 20 bucks plus shipping. But he used to have systems going back as far as Atari and Pong and stuff, because he wanted to make it a retro type store and have the stuff he played as a kid. But anything other than Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and stuff, it sit on his shelf for years. People just, I guess it's the area, man. People don't care about that stuff, and they all want Nintendo. And this thing, I think this came out in '93, and this was their last one. Got an Atari Jaguar from them, and the reason why I'm lucky, and I'm glad I talked to the guy and didn't just stop in the store. He wasn't busy at all, so I asked him what type of stuff he has. And while I was talking to him, I'm looking at the counter behind him where he just had stuff piled up. And it was basically his wife was bringing out all the systems, just oddball stuff that he couldn't sell. And speaking of how it is in that area for gamers, I don't know if it's that there's not many gamers in that area or what that are into retro stuff, but he had a Virtual Boy, not mint, but in the box for $80, boxed, and he couldn't sell it. And I mean, for a game store price, that's not bad for Virtual Boy. I've seen them go for a lot more than that, and he said it was starting to get a few scan lines, but unless you get one mint, man, you're probably going to end up with it and then have to do that repair like I did. But $80. And speaking of $80, that's what I paid for this. He was desperate to get some money back for it, and that's what he was wanting to put it on eBay just to see if they bid up on it. Because I've seen these things go on eBay for up to $200 for one in the box, but that's usually mint. So he was curious, but wanted this cash bad enough, man. He just said, "Hey, I'll call up my wife and see if she's put it on yet, and if she hasn't, man, I'll give you the price I want, otherwise make an offer." So it's like, "Hey, will you give it to me for $80? Okay." And it wasn't just for this. Before I show you the system, he also had 3 boxed games with it, all mint condition. Just opened, but mint. As in, they still have the cellophane on them, and if I peeled it off, the boxes would look like I just went to the store and bought them brand new. And I got 3 pretty good games, especially this one. I like this one. It's quite fun. Got Zool 2. This one is definitely friggin' weird. I haven't figured out what the fuck I'm supposed to do yet, but it looks interesting. Got Attack of the Mutant Penguins. Then another one that played a little bit, and it looks like it could be, amusing. It's kind of half puzzle, half side scroller. This is Evolution Dino Dudes. All of them in the box, still with cellophane on them or the wrapping. All complete too, man. The game cartridges, because he took them out and he was testing it and had stuff sitting out in Arizona. As soon as you set something out, it gets dusty. So that's all I got to do is clean off the dust a little bit, and they'll look like they're brand new. On the system, all complete. Everything, all the hookups, the controller, everything, mint. Had a little extra thing with it, which now I am very lucky to have gotten it, because it was something you had to buy separate. I got the AV cable with this puppy, so I don't have to go through RF. And the AV cable, he said, I'm the one that opened this just to see how it looks on AV, man. He was curious, so it was still sealed up in its bag, just sitting inside the box with the system. So here's the instruction book, brand new looking. The only thing that looks kind of beat up, like maybe a kid was looking through this or something, and it's really worthless now. It's kind of a little catalog to where you could get Jaguar stuff, like hats and backpacks, coffee cups, whatever, watch. That's beat up, but cool to have just to see how much they were selling stuff. Pretty cool looking watch. Has a Jaguar and then the Jaguar name, and it was a hologram. So, pretty cool stuff you can get. And on this box, front of it, other than a bit of a crease here where something got set on it, it looks pretty damn good. The only place that definitely shows its age is right here where it shows the actual game system. It's got a bad scuff there, but not tore up or falling apart, so as long as this side's good, because that's the side you want to display, man. Cool. Let's see, where did I put the controller? Controller here, I've heard so much bad stuff on it, man. I want to be able to play this a while before I give my honest opinion on it, but so far it's not bad. And this one, because got big hands, it fits my hands perfect. I mean, literally perfect. I don't feel like I'm having to stretch further with my fingers. All I do is just grip it naturally, and everything's right where I'd want it to be. So for me, so far I like it. but I haven't played this thing long enough, as in I only played it a little bit at the hotel. I haven't played it since I got home. So right now I'm not going to say it's awesome or anything like that, man. I haven't found anything that I dislike about it so far. And on the bulky size, I don't care. I've been playing games since this thing came out, so no big deal to me on not having thumbsticks or anything. And on using all the buttons, so far the only one I've got that seems to use some of the other ones, like the keypad, is Cybermorph, which that one I can see why that game's kind of crappy. I haven't played it long enough to really give an honest opinion, but I could tell graphically it's got problems. And then the Evolution Dyna dudes, it's set up to where you got more than one little character, like different cavemen here and there, and you got to pick the right ones to make them do the right thing. So you use the keypad to go back and forth to the different guys to make them move where you want. Kind of like I think Lemmings is like that, to where you pick the ones you want to move here so you can do different things or do different actions or whatever. So anyways, this is what the AV cable for it looks like. Pretty big plug there, as in the back of it, which is kind of weird. It's not like all the other systems to where it's literally got like a plug. It's got exposed circuit board to where you're plugging literally into the circuit board with this, but it fits nice and tight. And then right next to it is a thinner area, a circuit board, to where I guess that's for the CD attachment or something. I haven't seen how it hooks up and back. I gotta watch another video showing the back of the system with that thing on it. Because all I've noticed is that it just plugs into the cartridge thing, and I always thought that that's how it works, so don't know. But it does do really good on composite video, and if you're fucking crazy enough to spend the money, I spotted another cable on eBay, as in this puppy does S-video. But man, they wanted about $50 for that damn cable, for a frickin' game cable. That is an insane price. I don't care how rare the system is, that is an insane price. These, man, I was seeing them going for like $30. So to get this, man, major score. Anyways, everything was still bagged. As in, they didn't even throw away the bags yet, man. That's why it's so clean. The only thing on this, man, is just dust from it being in this milk carton type box, and just a little dust from them having it out. Other than that, there is not any sign of use on this. No scratches, no nothing. And to me, it's a cool looking system. It does look a bit funky when you got the CD attachment on it, and if I find that, man, I pretty much deserve buying myself a Snickers and downing it, because that's pretty scarce, especially around in my area. I'd probably have to order it, and there wasn't enough games made to where it's not that big a deal to me. Having this is cool enough. But yeah, I kind of like the look of it. To me, it's definitely got a retro look. Just doesn't have that much functionality. Just has 2 controller ports. Very similar to jacks that you would have like on a computer or whatever. Actually, they're reverse of all the other Atari type controllers for like 2600 and 7800 and stuff. So I don't know why they did it that way, but the controller fits in nice and tight, so cool enough. Just has power button. And one thing I found on this, if any of you guys out there that are new to collecting happen to be lucky enough to find one of these that has enough stuff to make it work, as in a game, power supply, controller, I recommend getting some of that like CRC contact cleaner, to where you can spray it on, drench it, clean it off, and then the stuff evaporates. Clean the living shit out of this before you try it, because that's one of the things to where he thought that there was a problem with it, and it was just a little bit dirty from dust. But this is set up to where if the game isn't fitting in there perfect, as in making good contact, it won't turn on. It's set up to where the game has to be in the system in order to turn this on. Otherwise, if you try to turn it on now, you're not even going to get the power light to go on. Kind of a weird way to do it, but definitely lets you know if your game's clean or not. So, cool enough. Say, weird hookup on the back. Right there's where you'd plug in your AV. And it does fit in nice and tight. No wiggle whatsoever once it's in there. Nice tight fit, and then just enough room to get another plug or whatever. And then the usual hookup for RF has it off to the side, and then right next to that is your channel select switch. And then it's cool on this. Typical type power supply. It's not an oddball. It's got your usual type plug that you have on like Sega Genesis and stuff, and the old style Nintendo. And for anybody that gets one without it, if you want to try and find one or get a variable one, input is AC 120 volt, 60 hertz, 20 watts. Output DC 9 volt, 1.2 amps. Polarity positive to the outside, as in the metal shielding here. Negative to the inside where the little pin goes in. And I don't see a problem finding a replacement. And speaking of this, just to tell you how much use it got, it still has that plastic that they stick over the metal part to protect the metal sticker. It never got peeled off. And do have the overlay for Cybermorph, which I got to figure out a way to make this thing go flat. Might just keep it in the controller and set it somewhere warm, but it looks like it doesn't have any use. There's not a scratch on it. I don't think they ever used this. I think it just kind of got a curve in it sitting in the box. But yeah, got that, and just like the Intellivision and stuff, ColecoVision, it's got little tabs and it fits in right over the controller for the keypad. Definitely a different type game cart there. I do like the fact that they got it to where you can grab onto it easy. So, cool. Let's see, where did I put the damn RF? I don't know where I set the RF for it. Anyways, the RF adapter on it, it looks like a kind of a mix between the one that you get with the old toaster type Nintendo or like a Sega Genesis. It's got that automatic switch box, and if you're stuck with that, it will work on direct connect, as in he didn't plug it in that way. He'd already been testing out another system, so he just plugged in a direct connect line, and it didn't quite like it. Either his cord that he was using was kind of crappy, or I don't know, but it was kind of staticky. But once I used it on the other, got a nice clear picture for what you can get on RF. Otherwise, I don't know how the hell you do it. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to set this up for a composite video. It's just I don't know where the hell you'd put the jacks. It looks like everything is backed right up to the back of the plastic here, and on the sides you got all this fancy looking grill work. I don't know where the hell you'd put jacks on this. I'd hate to do it on a system that's as scarce or rare as this, but if you absolutely had to and didn't have any other way of hooking it up, good. I don't see why you couldn't just open this up and solder directly to this piece of circuit board here to get your composite video and S video, and just get yourself a cable and chop the end off. It's just, that's something I wouldn't do, man. If it was to where I didn't have this, man, I'd just stick with standard RF on this, man, because these things are too damn scarce to do any major modding on it to where you're cutting into it. And once you solder on the circuit board, if you ever did find one of these, it'd be a pain to get the solder off of that thing and make that plug fit good. So, that is the end of this video now that I'm up to 20 minutes. And once again, you guys can say I'm lucky as hell, because it's like, he literally called up his wife. And he did have other systems, man. There was one that I was going to get until I saw the table full of awesomeness. He did have a Sega Master System Model 1 in the box, but the box looked like shit. It's one of those things to where the only reason I'd keep it in the box was to protect it and keep it from getting beat up. Otherwise, not something you could display. It was that messed up. And that I think he had for just under $60. And that's what I was going to get, because that was the only really old school thing I spotted until I looked behind his counter. So, pure luck. Later, everybody.